I love being comfortable. It seems like in our society that that's the ultimate goal, to have everything figured out to get to that next stage of life when things will settle down or things will become more simple. Whether it's when I get to high school, things will all work out, or when I get to college, they will. When I'm married, when I have a house, when I have a secure job. And I think a lot of times we take that mentality and we apply it to our faith. And we think to ourselves, God, when will you take this conflict and this pain and this indecision, this emptiness? I think it's actually very exciting because God has something way better than just comfort planned for us.
I mean, I get sucked into the idea that I'm supposed to be comfortable, that I should just live a comfortable life with my Christian friends in a Christian church and never have to reach out because that would be uncomfortable to talk to strangers or try to really get involved in someone else's life. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, it feels kind of dangerous. And I felt that way for a long time until recently when I went on a trip to Haiti. We drove around the city and around Port-au-Prince and then around some of the rest of the country, and we just saw the destruction and the pain and the poverty. And I looked around and I thought, man, how can this be? How can people live like this? And then it really struck me one day when we were driving along the highway, and I looked off to my left and I saw this giant field of people streaming into this field that was just kind of empty and desolate, just rocks and dirt. And I remember looking over there and being like, what is that? There's no markers, there's no signs, it's just a bunch of people walking over there. And so we pulled off and we got out and we looked around and we started asking people, what is this? And we found out it was a mass grave site where thousands of the victims from the earthquake had been buried. And I thought, man, I can't even imagine, to be buried without a marker, without a name, just nameless people who used to be someone's mother or son or father, and just thinking, man, how could families survive? Because these were the families of the victims. I was sent to Haiti to reach out to people and talk to people. And I think a lot of times we think that we have to go to the other side of the world to make a difference. But that's not true. The truth is there are people right next to you who you maybe haven't noticed that need God, that need your help, that need Christ's love. Maybe they're down the street or down the hall, or maybe it's someone in your classroom. But I guarantee you there are people way closer than a country away who are looking for your love. I think the question is, do you have your eyes open? Because I know a lot of times I go through life with my eyes kind of half closed, still looking for that comfortable life. No, the only real first-hand faith, first-hand life, is one where you're stepping out. Anything else is just second-hand.
As we kind of cultivate a first-hand faith, we can't help but look outward and notice the pain and the suffering around us and how we are called to love these people in the midst of their brokenness in the same way that Christ first loved us, in the middle of our mess. The only way that we're going to make an impact that'll last for eternity is by learning how to be sensitive to the divine disturbance the Lord places in our hearts. And we'll miss out on making an impact that will last for eternity, because eternity is at stake.
God challenges us to step out. It's not about the numbers. It's not about trying to put on a show like we're doing something great. It's about really getting into the mess of someone else's life or just the problems and pain and being there. And being Christ to someone who desperately needs you.
I think it's appropriate that we end these sessions with a prayer. And there's this poem by Francis Drake, and it was written hundreds of years ago, but it's just as relevant today as it is or as it was then. Disturb us, Lord, when we are too pleased with ourselves, when our dreams have come true because we have dreamed too little, when we arrived safely because we sailed too close to the shore. Disturb us, Lord, when, with the abundance of things we possess, we have lost our thirst for the waters of life. Having fallen in love with life, we have ceased to dream of eternity, and in our efforts to build a new earth, we have allowed our vision of the new heaven to dim. Disturb us, Lord, to dare more boldly, to venture on wilder seas, where storms will show your mastery, where losing sight of land, we shall find the stars.
We challenge you to really live out a firsthand faith. Up until now, you've really worked on a firsthand relationship with Christ, and that's so important, and we're so glad that you're working on that. And if you're listening to this right now, that means that you have begun that journey to a real firsthand relationship with Christ. Josh and I challenge you to continue that. Continue it out into the world around you with your friends, at your church, at your school. Don't give up on a firsthand faith. There are going to be times when you feel closer to God, when you feel further apart, but I promise you that God is always there. God still has an amazing purpose for your life, and He really desperately wants that intimate relationship with you. He wants to fill that emptiness. He wants to continue to overflow it. Josh and I challenge you to continue the firsthand life that God has begun in you.